Hi folks, Greeno here, and where am I today? Well, I am in the back garden here at Greeno Towers today. What am I doing here? Well, I want to talk to you about a situation that I kind of really need to nip in the bud now. It's something that's been ongoing for a little while, but it's definitely been getting worse since I started releasing the videos from my US series. So, basically, this is around my relationship with Gary and his Greeno Eats channel. So, ever since we started kind of working together a little bit, probably just over a year ago, I think about 14 months ago maybe, there's been a lot of accusations flying around that I'm copying or I'm stealing ideas, stealing content, that kind of thing. And it simply just isn't true. And I've put up with a lot of it up until now. And I think it's time just to put that all to bed, really. So what I want to do is explain, like I say, a little bit more about the relationship between the two channels, and hopefully you guys will get a better understanding of how it works, and you'll see that nobody's copying anyone and there's no competition or any of that nonsense between the channels. So probably the best place to start is going back right to the beginning and exploring how me and Gary started working together. Basically, I used to watch Gary's channel and Gary used to watch my channel. Back in the days when both of our channels were considerably smaller than they are now. I mean, in terms of magnitude of size, about the same difference. His was probably about 10 times bigger than mine back then too. But we used to comment on each other's videos a little bit, and that was all it really was. But then one day, out of the blue, I got a message from Gary, basically asking if I would ever be interested in doing a collaboration with them. Now, I know this isn't the way it normally works in creator land. Normally it's the smaller channel pestering the bigger channel for an opportunity, that kind of thing, trying to increase the profile. But in our case, it was the other way round. Basically, Gary and the cameraman had been thinking about doing a collaboration for a while and wanted to look for someone who they thought would have a sort of good chemistry, good synergy with their channel. And for whatever reason, out of all the creators out there, they reached out to me. So I said, yeah, why not? I hadn't done a collaboration with anyone at that point either. Thought it sounded like a bit of fun. Now, it took a couple of months to put together in terms of different, schedules, timings. We thought we had a couple of dates set up and then some things happened from both sides and we had to push it back a little bit. But it ended up being that we got together first in Bournemouth and we filmed a video at Harry Ramsden's. I don't know if you remember seeing that. It was a really good day. I met up with Gary and the cameraman down in Bournemouth, and within 10 minutes we were filming, and it just kind of clicked straight away. There was a good chemistry between us just as people, and I think that came across on camera too. Now, after that video, we just kept talking, more so on the phone rather than by message at that point. And we were sharing ideas and talking about each other's channels and critiquing different things that we were doing and whatever. And just trying to learn from each other, really, because we're both relative amateurs at this game at that point. Some would probably say still are. But what I want people to try and understand is it's not a one-way street, which everyone seems to think it is. Now, I can kind of understand why that would happen, because obviously a lot of people that watch my channel are also watching Gary's channel. Whereas a lot of people that are watching Gary's channel don't even know my channel exists. I get that, okay? So I understand why people naturally kind of think it's more of a one-sided thing. But it really, really isn't. I can't stress that enough. Like I say, it is a two-way street. We're critiquing each other's videos, we're sharing tips, we're talking about places that we visited. We've now a year or so into our sort of relationship as two channels. We've not filmed that much together, have we, to be honest? We did a breakfast video on my channel, we did a curry one on Gary's channel back in sort of August time. Gary presented my awards thing on my channel just around Christmas, and that's pretty much it. Beyond that, our relationship as two different channels is a lot closer. So, like I say, I speak to Gary at least a couple of times a week. We'll talk about the places we've been, the things we've eaten, what we think was good, what we think was bad. I speak to the cameraman too, at least a couple of times a week. Again, he has a different perspective on what they've done, because he's behind the camera, Gary's in front of the camera. And so it's very interesting to have their different perspectives on what they're doing. And the cameraman's been a big help to me as well, because he will look at what I've done and suggest things that I could have done differently, that sort of thing. We also share a lot of ideas. Now, again, that is not a one-way street. People will have seen places that I've been to on my channel, and Gary's already been there. Now, it's not because I'm copying him or anything like that. That will 99% of the time be because either Gary or the cameraman has said to me, we really like this place, you should go there, check it out. And it's as simple as that. And if I think it's something that's a good fit for my channel, I will. I don't always take that advice. I will admit there are places they've suggested that I haven't been to. But similarly, I've suggested places that they've been to. Now, whether that's places that I've actually visited myself, if you look back through the history of the channel, for example, Jollibee's, I went there before Gary did. Rick Stein's pub down in Padstow, Cafe Rohano. Places like that I had been to first and suggested them to go there themselves and check it out. But there's also things that I haven't even filmed on my channel that are just ideas I had that I thought would be a better fit for their channel than my channel. So again, round about the time that we started chatting and sorting things out, I suggested Guy Ritchie's Airfield to them, which they went and filmed. There's also been, there was that Vietnamese restaurant with the slightly rude name in London. That was one I picked out for them. And a posh kebab place, Le Bab, I don't know if you remember that one on their channel. So, you know, we're just sharing ideas between us, and that's it, you know. Now, obviously, like I say, there's been a bit of stick, and none of it is really pleasant, you know. People trying to make a competition out of the pair of us, and it just isn't that way. We're just mates. You know, he's pleased when I have a video that goes well. I'm pleased when he has a video that goes well. And, you know, we're supporting each other along the way. You know, like I say, we're newcomers to this kind of game, really. So it's interesting to have a friend who you can talk to and share experiences with, who's kind of in the same boat you are. Now, what I will say is that a lot of these comments, like I say, have been relatively negative, mostly aimed at me rather than Gary. Although, to be fair, he gets his fair share of stick too. People coming onto my channel and saying that they, you know, far prefer me to him and he's rubbish and all that kind of stuff, which, you know, isn't fair. You wouldn't like it if someone was having a pop at one of your mates, would you? But it's kind of gone a bit beyond that with this US trip. So let's talk in a little bit more detail about that. So the first thing to note, this US trip was planned together between myself, Gary, and the cameraman. They approached me, basically saying they had an idea to go to New York sometime in the spring. This was last autumn, I think we started talking about this. And if they did, would I be interested in going along as well? A couple of reasons for that. Again, like I've said, we're friends. It's nice to have a friendly face at the end of the day to go and have a beer with or whatever, you know. Secondly, because if we have two channels going, the list of restaurants that we'd put together was far too long for one person to cover. In fact, probably about half a dozen people would have been needed to cover it all. There's a lot that didn't make the grade. But we thought if we went and then split things up a little bit, that would make some interesting content across the two channels and cover a lot more than just one channel could do in the time that we were there. So that's the idea behind the trip, basically. Now, the last video I brought out on my channel was Cat's Deli. Now, that is the one place that was always planned for this trip to be on both channels. It's an iconic name, everybody knows it, and we thought it would be a great place for us both to review, okay, independently of one another, okay, and just get two different perspectives on it. Now, again, I've had people in my comments on that video basically saying I'm following him around, I'm stealing the idea, I'm copying him. We were in the same place, we were in Cat's Deli on the same day at the same time filming, okay? Not copying, it was pre-arranged that way. Basically, the way it worked, Gary and the cameraman filmed his intro outside the deli. Then they went inside to order the food. At that point, I filmed my intro outside. I came in, Gary had placed his order and whatever. Cameraman took my camera, okay, and filmed me placing my order. Now, you'll know if you've seen my Cat's Deli video that the ordering process, obviously you can see as a cameraman holding that. When I'm eating the food, I've got a static camera like I have now. And that is because the cameraman was busy filming Gary's video. And I just sat down and ate my food and filmed myself as I normally do. Okay? Most of the time, as you know, I film my own videos. There are occasions where I have either Mrs. Greeno, very occasionally Little filming, but also the cameraman films for me sometimes. So if you've seen my videos at Fallow, the Gordon Ramsay Beef Wellington, and a couple of others, I actually met up with the cameraman and he helped me film those videos. Again, not something you'd do if you're copying or in competition, is it? There is one video where I've actually filmed the same place that Gary did on this trip, which was unplanned. That's coming up on my channel next week, and that's going to be a Chick-fil-A video. Now, that was always on the plan for them to film. They went and filmed it. We met up at the end of the day, me having gone off filming whatever I was filming, them having filmed whatever they were filming. We met up in a bar, having a beer, just chatting about things. And they said, we think you should go and film there. Reason being, I've filmed places like Slim Chickens, Dave's Hot Chicken, all these kind of fast food American chicken places that are in the UK, and Chick-fil-A are coming over to the UK, aren't they? So they thought, having been there, filmed it, they thought they'd filmed a good video. It's a good place for me to go and film. So I have, okay? Again, I'm sure there will be comments saying, Gary was there last week. I know. And I'm not copying. They said I should go and film there. And I have. Simple as that, okay? No competition. I've talked about the comments section a little bit, and it's getting out of control. All of this stuff. It really is. There's just too much criticism in there. Like I say, because like the way me and Gary work, we always try and answer all of our comments, okay? Positive or negative, critical, whatever they may be, okay? It's important to us to try and build that engagement with our communities. But it's getting tough to do that with every comment at the moment because there are so many repetitive and, you know, reasonably nasty ones coming up. And I just think it's getting a bit too much. I really do. I mean, there's people having a pop at me, like I said, because I'm copying or I'm stealing ideas or, you know, trying to grab onto Gary's coattails in some way. There are still, like I say, some people in my comments that are having a pop at Gary saying that they don't like the way he does things and I'm doing it much better, but not in a constructive way, just having a bit of a pop at him. And like I say, he's a mate, and I don't really want to read that if I'm honest. And I don't want him to read it if he comes onto my channel and watch the video, which I know he does. And similarly, on his channel, it's the same thing happening. I go and watch his videos, and I'll see comments having a pop at me. Okay, you know, I'm fairly thick-skinned, but, you know, if my kids are reading it or stuff like that, I just don't think it's very fair. I really don't. Like I say, it's not a competition between us. We're just friends. Simple as that. Now, talking of those comments, there are some pretty insane theories getting thrown around at the moment, and I don't want to put those to bed too. Okay? First of which, there is no cameraman. Apparently, Gary is my cameraman and I'm his cameraman. Absolute nonsense. I mean, the cats one disproves that straight away because I had a cameraman for a little bit of it and then not for the rest of it. So, you know, it's just nonsense. We know the cameraman is Gary's son. Look at me. Do I look young enough to be Gary's son? I don't think so. It's just a nonsense. It really is. The second one, and this is even wilder, apparently me and Gary are in a relationship together. Now, I think Mrs. Greeno would have something to say about that. Were it true, don't you? It's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. The craziest one, though. Absolute craziest one I had this weekend. Apparently, me and Gary are supposed to be secretly working for the government to promote the food industry, restaurants, that sort of thing. Now, I think that's bonkers, you know? It's the craziest conspiracy theory that I've seen so far. If that were the case, do you not think we'd give overwhelmingly positive reviews? I mean, I think anyone, it's plain to see, we don't do any kind of paid reviews at all because we go into places and sometimes it's a great review and sometimes it's not, you know. So, yeah, I think we can disprove that one straight away. Employed by the government as a food reviewer. Do you know what? I wish someone was paying me because this YouTube lark isn't as lucrative as you guys might think. I just want to talk a little bit about the sort of YouTube food creator community, as it were. Now, again, maybe in certain niches on YouTube, there is a lot of competition. I get that, you know. I had very briefly had a kind of gaming channel before I started up this food one. And yeah, I can see certain niches within there. you know, people were trying to put other creators down to try and take their audience, but it's just not like that in the food scene. It really isn't. So, I mean, I can talk to you about Gary. You know, obviously he's really helped me out with you know, the support he's given my channel. But I think he would say the same, that I've helped him out in certain ways. Not in terms of numbers, but certainly in terms of, you know, advice on places to go, critique on his videos, that sort of thing. Al's Kitchen. Now, you know, Gary did a video with Al recently, and I speak to Al as well. We've spoken on the phone a few times, and there's every possibility we're going to do something together in the near future too. Dino. You know, Dino, good pal of mine. When I was right down at the sort of start of my YouTube channel, not even getting monetized at this point, he actually gave me a shout out on his channel, and that enabled me to get over the 1,000 subscribers that you need and get monetized. And we've kept in touch since. I met up with him in, I think it was October last year when I was up north. We sat down, me, him and Gary and the cameraman. He can prove the cameraman exists. And we just had a few beers one evening. So, you know, Dino's a great guy, and if, you know, if ever he wants any help or whatever, I'm more than happy to give it to him. Danny from Rate My Takeaway, another great guy, you know. I met up with him when I was up north reviewing his kitchen. Really nice guy. A couple of texts and whatever, backwards and forwards, nothing much, but you never know where that's going to lead. He's not trying to put anybody down. He's there to help out if people want him to. And you can't say fairer than that, can you? It's just not that kind of community. And I think I like to say that I kind of pay that forward a little bit. There are some people with currently smaller channels that I would help to try and get up. I've given shout outs to people like Rhiannon on rhi-defined, if you remember that channel. Nikki from Nikki's Nosh up in York. Philip Saunders with his Travel in the Know channels. These are all like smaller channels in terms of numbers, but ones I think are making great content and should have more eyes on them. So I've given them shout outs. I've put posts up to try and direct people towards them. And that's just the way it should work. It's better if we all try and raise each other up than put each other down. Simple as that. Simple as that. You know, I'm grateful to anybody who's given me any help or advice. And hopefully those people are grateful for what I've done too. You know, and that's just how I want it to be. No competition, no nastiness. Let's just get on, all be mates, and try and make some content for all of you to enjoy. It's entertainment at the end of the day, isn't it? So talking of entertainment, I don't want this to all be gloom and doom. I want to talk about some future plans for the channel. So, the immediate future. There's still going to be, I think we've got 3 or 4 more videos from New York to come out post this video. So hopefully you'll enjoy those. Like I say, one of them will be Chick-fil-A. Don't tell me I'm copying Gary. We've been through that, folks. Then I'm going to be heading back into the UK scene for some videos. I'm going to be heading to the northeast, up to Scotland. A couple of areas that I haven't filmed anything in yet, so that'll be exciting. I do still have a few more videos from the States, which I'll show separately to the New York ones. They're from a bit further down the coast, so it's just a standalone 3 little episodes that will go into 1 week, and hopefully you'll enjoy them too. And then we're back around the UK again. So this is where you guys can possibly help me out if you want to, you know. Firstly, you can suggest any collaborations you think would be fun for me to do. I've mentioned possibly doing one with Al. You know, I think that would be fun if we can get together and do a curry together, that sort of thing. There's a couple of other people out there that I'm sort of talking to a little bit, which might be interesting. But also, places to go, just whether it's just a city, an area, or specific restaurants. What I'm not looking for, obviously, is, you know, your local kebab shop that you think is great, or the chippy on the corner that you think does nice chips. Things that have got a broader appeal. You know, if there's a really interesting place, a really cheap place, really expensive place that you don't think is very good, anything like that, I'm always open to ideas. Plenty of people have suggested stuff to me, and I have been out and filmed some of those places. One that springs to mind very recently was the Salt Room in Brighton, which a regular viewer of the channel, Dr. Frank, suggested. Great place. Really pleased I went there. So, you know, just keep those ideas coming in. I always look at them. You know, I'm replying to all the comments. I'm reading all the comments. So I do always stick the name of the restaurant into Google and have a little look. And some of them make the list, some of them don't. But if you don't suggest them, they definitely won't, will they? Right, so I think that's going to be it for now. I think I've waffled on long enough. But yeah, hopefully you understand a little bit more about my relationship, mostly with Gary and Greeno Eats and the cameraman and that whole channel there, but also how the community works as a whole, And we're not trying to get at each other. We're all trying to support each other and just do as well as we can and entertain you guys, because that's what it's all about. You want to watch YouTube to be entertained, I assume. You know, that's why I watch it. I want to watch stuff I think is fun to watch, rather than going on and wanting to have a pop at somebody. So yeah, hopefully that's been useful. We can put all this nonsense to bed and move forward and make everywhere a happier place to be. My channel, Gary's channel, everyone's channel. I know Danny has touched on the comments on his channel recently on a video he made, and I think he's right to do so. Hopefully you think I'm right to do so as well. Anyway, that is it from me for now. Where will you find me next? Well, in the next video, I'll be back in New York again. Not because I've flown there again. It's from before, you know. It's not all live. We filmed some of it ahead of time. I'll see you next time, folks.